wife. That's the first time I've been described as retiring. It's fantastic. It's really, really nice. Thank you. To Tamara and Matt, let me just quickly echo the sentiments of the rabbi and wish, on behalf of the board of directors and the community at large, Mazal Tov to you both. Thanks for being the people that you are, and thanks for all that you do. Rishus Rabbi Krohn and other distinguished rabbis. Last Friday night, not last night, but 8 nights ago, the Wimpfheimers were guests for Friday night dinner at the home of Eric and Lori Schwartz. This is the point at which you guys stop looking at your iPhones. Okay, listen up. We've had the pleasure of dining at and with the Schwartzes more than a couple of times, but this meal was different. As Eric is probably sweating bullets right now, let me put his mind at ease. Everything was great. What was interesting about this meal is that for the 2 days prior, Eric had treated himself to a little ski trip to Utah. Now that's all good and fine, but it presented one problem. There was this corned beef that needed to be cooked, and given that Lori is not an eater of beef, nor a cooker of beef, generally speaking, Eric was concerned that the task might be handled in a suboptimal manner, and that the guest would have to suffer with corned beef that was either overcooked, undercooked, or otherwise ruined. The corned beef and everything else that we ate was excellent. It was as it usually is. Exceptional, but not worthy, as it was always exceptional. What was noteworthy, and I'm not sure why I didn't notice this, at prior meals with the Schwartzes, was Kiddush. Now, there are more than a few things which Eric does differently than some other people in our neighborhood. For example, his hat is a few shades darker than the hats which the rest of us wear to shul. But I took notice of the way in which he began Kiddush, or so that Eric understands, Kiddush. Most of us start with the words, Vayihi Erev, Vayihi Boker. Well, that is actually the second half of the 31st pasuk in the Torah. Eric began Kiddush with the beginning of that pasuk. Vayar Elokim et kol asher asa, v'hinei tov ma'od. And God saw all that he had done, and it was very good. Very good. In contrast to the manner in which the Torah describes much of creation, Vayar Elokim ki tov, and God saw that it was good. And so I began to think, that happens sometimes. God distinguishes between that which is good and that which is very good, between that which is tov and that which is tov ma'od. This lesson, taught to us at the very beginning of the Torah, is most interesting. Indeed, we must recognize that there is a difference between that which is good and that which is better. Our community is blessed. We are a community which has much good, much tov. We are also a community which understands tov ma'od, a community which understands well the aspiration to achieve tov ma'od. We all have communal responsibilities, but we also have personal and familial responsibilities. Jennifer and I always try to achieve tov ma'od at 107 Golf Court. And it's not always easy to do better or to achieve more than tov. But my wife is a woman of incredible strength, and on the many days where I can do no better than tov, she shows our family how to reach the level of tov ma'od. I thank Jennifer for being the wife that she is and ensuring that in our home, the culture of excellence is one which is always understood. Above all, I thank Jennifer for her patience and understanding. Being my wife requires a great deal of both. As my stint as president comes to a close, I am ever cognizant of the debt which I owe Jennifer. I sincerely hope that my service helped this community in some fashion, and if it did, I speak with confidence that Jennifer deserves any credit which comes my way. I thank you, Jennifer. Well, when I say that tonight's event is tov ma'od, these words are not hollow. Tonight's dinner has over 300 guests, and through the generosity of these guests, all of you, the dinner's financial objectives were exceeded by a healthy margin. I am proud of the individuals whom the rabbi thanked earlier, and I echo his words of thanks, much as I am proud of the community at large. There are a few more things that I need to do before I sit down, among them present to our guests of honor. 2 quick things before I do that. First, a word to the rabbi and Chani. To say that in the months since you have joined us, we have enjoyed the effects of your presence would be a gross understatement. We are very, very fortunate to have you in our community. May it be Hashem's will that the hashba'ah, the effect, which you have had in recent months, is the type of hashba'ah which, with your guidance, will foster the growth, physical and spiritual, of our community for many years to come. I have every confidence that under your leadership, it will. Spiritual growth is the rabbi's domain. I will speak for a moment about our shul's physical growth. Let me state the obvious. We need more space. We could argue whether this is true today or whether it will be true in 12 or 18 months. I don't know the answer to that question. Baruch Hashem, over the years, a bunch of us had a bunch of kids. Baruch Hashem, these kids are growing up and taking up space and seats. Baruch Hashem, families continue to move in increasing number to our community. All good things. But we are reaching the point, if we haven't already, where an additional 11,000 square feet would be really nice and arguably necessary. I thank Sheldon Lee, who has begun to work with our architect to construct a plan which will address our needs in a manner which we can afford, not the easiest of tasks. But I will share with you that they have some very good ideas, exciting ideas which will be shared with the community before too long, exciting ideas which we can all partner to implement, exciting ideas which will take us from Tov to Tov Ma'od. Okay, next, our guests of honor. All right. My understanding is that at this point, it's my job to list all the wonderful things that Mark and Rochelle have done since birth. I'm told that I should focus on the things that they've done for the shul. I should delineate their best traits. I should tell you how they fostered the growth of the community and how they've raised wonderful kids. Here's the deal. I'm not going to do that. That'd be silly. That'd be a waste of my time and a waste of your time. Anyone who has lived in this community more than a few weeks, so the Wassermans are excused, should be able to handle this presentation. Mark and Rochelle have done a lot. Mark and Rochelle do a lot. Mark and Rochelle will do a lot. This year, the shul decided to honor the Zomicks. Anyone who thought that Mark would work less on this year's dinner, given that he and Rochelle were among the honorees, is, with all due respect, delusional. Mark and Rochelle are people who do, and do, and do, and do. Some might question the quality of various decisions which I've made as president. Some might question the wisdom with which I've led this organization, or the lack thereof. But I'll share with you tonight that the best decision I made was to share my strong preference that Mark remain involved in our shul's leadership. Mark and Rochelle work fast, and they work hard, and they work smart. They make things happen. They affect change. Mark and Rochelle are two people who unequivocally deserve this honor. They deserve to be honored at this year's dinner, and they deserve to be honored at next year's dinner. Given the hours and sweat expended, I'd advocate honoring them at the following year, too. Some of you might write this off as silliness or frivolity, but I'm a person who all too often evaluates things quantitatively. So, a quantitative analysis of the effort expended by the Zomicks relative to that expended by other Young Israel Tina guests of honor would likely illustrate that Mark and Rochelle should be honored at our dinner for the next 11 years. Well, that would be a wonderful idea, except that the place in Brooklyn where we get our honoree gifts, they only have 2 gifts which are remotely attractive. So that being the case, this is it. It is with tremendous gratitude that I invite to the podium 2 people whose contributions to our shul are simply unparalleled. 2 people who understand what is Tov and always look for new and innovative ways to achieve Tov Ma'od. 2 people who have fostered the growth of this shul and this community in ways which are many and in ways which are great. Please join me in welcoming our guests of honor.